this video, I'm gonna talk about the 6 life-changing lessons that I've learned in my first year of street photography. But really, it should be learning, because it's not like I've learned them and I'm done and like I can just say, yeah, I'm good, I know this shit. So, hey, my name is Matt, and on this channel, we talk about street photography. First lesson that I want to share is strangers aren't so strange. I'm kind of comfortable when random interactions happen, or you just gotta improvise or be spontaneous. But in street photography, we actually gotta go out sometimes and initiate the action with strangers. There's a difference when we're initiating something and going up to someone, because now we're kind of putting this on ourselves. And with COVID and everything, everyone's on high alert mode, so there's a little bit more anxiety involved on both sides actually. Last year I was in New York for a bit, and I forced myself to go out onto the streets and talk to people and interact with people and ask strangers for their portraits. And it showed me that it's not really that bad. Just you gotta make it not awkward. So talk to them, get to know them a little bit, talk about what's going on in their day, and kind of really quickly, I kind of got to know them. And sometimes too, I got to really know them. Like one person I met with, Janae, it was a hot summer day in New York. And New York gets hella hot, but she had this straw hat on, and I thought she looked really nice, and I told her that, and I asked for a portrait. She was like, yeah, sure. And we just started talking. She asked me what I was doing, and I said I'm walking out and about and taking pictures. I just asked her too, and then she talked about what she had just done that day, which was getting a brand sponsorship or something. And I thought that was really cool, and we just started talking, and next thing you know, the next, I think, hour, we were just at this table outside this sushi place, and I totally messed up her lunch because she had gotten her to go and was starting to leave, and we just started chatting about brand ambassadorship and social media. Super interesting, and got really like businessy and marketing, but we connected afterwards, added each other, and stayed in touch. Super interesting conversation that otherwise wouldn't have happened, and I learned a lot about brand sponsorships and about this interesting person doing interesting things. And we started off as strangers, and we ended up being friends. This story has taken shape in many different ways while I was doing this, and it really, when I think about it, it's gotten me out of my bubble, right? Because every day I'm hanging out with mostly the same people, and even one step further, the people in my like one level out social circle, I'm hanging with kind of similar people. So meeting with new people and learning about 1, different things, 2, different backgrounds of people, and 3, different things that people are doing, it really gets me out of my bubble. At the same time, it's really a challenge, like almost exposure therapy. Going up to strangers definitely challenges my nerves and anxieties. Sometimes it helps improve it because you get on a roll, you've talking to a few people, or you just do this regularly, it gets easier. And sometimes it actually worsens my anxiety because of maybe a specific situation where I want to go up to someone, but in my gut, there's something a little bit tougher about the situation, like this person might be busy with something, for example. But I always have this opportunity to do it, and I always get to overcome this challenge. Even though I'm anxious, I know what a good result can look like because I've done it before. But I didn't chat up a stranger like every 5 minutes. Well, I did, but over the course of a few days, it wasn't like I was talking to 20 people each day. There's just no time and energy for that. But when I'm walking out with a camera in my hand every day, something just changes. My second lesson is that every day is everything. What I mean by that is walking out with the camera, this object, and having to be observant and look for things to shoot makes me really observant of what is happening outside. When I step outside where I live near Taipei Main Station. There's a big mall, and there's an area, you walk down a block of restaurants, and then you can get into the mall. And this area is just full of smokers. You have smokers who work at these restaurants. You have customers or shoppers who just want to take a break and have a smoke. You have office workers from the nearby area who are just chatting and smoking. And a lot of times, most people are just on their phone. But I was walking through this alleyway one time, and there was this girl in a maid outfit, and in Asia, maid cafes are a thing. She was just sitting cross-legged on her phone, really droopy, just like, I'm totally just done with this shit face. And she had a cigarette in her hand and just taking big puffs and just looked worn out. It was such a sight because she's in a maid outfit, so she might be on break from work, or she might just gotten off work. It was really interesting to me because I started thinking from seeing that, like, what is she thinking? Like, is she tired from just having to do this thing? Because I can't imagine what what it's like coming from the States to, you know, work as a waiter, waitress mostly, as a maid, dressed up as a maid, or the type of interactions she must get with customers. It was really interesting, but it was also really relatable because I thought to myself, well, shit, there are times at work where I just work on my computer and I'm just like, I'm done with this. I'm done with these Zoom meetings right now. I just need to step out and just take a break and let my brain vegetate for a few minutes. Or a more common example of just going out, seeing families out together and actually paying attention and seeing the way a child and parent interact. And sometimes it's just really cute. It's just really lovely. They're playing on a playground and it reminds me of me as a kid playing with my family, right? There are moments like these that remind me what it really means to be human. Sometimes, like the maid example, how life can be kind of paradoxical or just really funny or ironic. Like you have this person dressed up as a maid who probably at work has to put on this persona. Outside of work, it's the complete opposite. But all of this makes me realize just how self-absorbed I am. Most days, straight up, I've got blinders on. Like I'm not paying attention to whatever is happening to anybody else outside of me. It's really me being selfish and self-absorbed, and street photography has helped me pull myself out of my own gutter. But when I take photos, whether or not it's street photography, you know, I'm not always on crowded streets. Sometimes I just have my camera just chilling with friends or just wherever I'm at. With every day being everything, it's also taught me that boring is beautiful. One late summer day, I was at my friend Gabe's house. This is the first time I've ever seen his home. He lives in LA. He lives near the beach, so you know the sunlight is really nice, but I didn't really know how nice it was. I was around his house just documenting things, taking pictures, and the most boring thing, I was at his kitchen counter, but the light coming through the window, hitting his white tiled countertop, and the way his knife stack and his fruit bowl was organized along with his shelves and his cabinets, everything was just so geometric, but also because of that California golden hour with the light coming through so softly and just hitting all these objects, it made it look really beautiful. And I'm getting so hyped talking about a freaking countertop. But let me tell you, it was really beautiful. And from that point on, I've constantly reminded myself to see the beauty and story in the objects around us. So obviously, like that countertop, that kitchen countertop was just aesthetically beautiful. But when I think back about it, I think back about, wow, this is what life must be like living in Malibu or near the beach. You get to experience this type of vibe, this type of atmosphere every day. Shoot, when I look back on that photo, it makes me feel like I live that life, even though I don't. It's really awesome recontextualizing things, how they can sometimes put me in the shoes of what it feels like to be a person surrounded by those things. I hope that makes sense. That got kind of abstract and wordy. The fourth thing is I've been talking about looking at other people, at other things, but really it's become clear to me that photography is a mirror. Recently, I made my first photo book and I had to look back on the year's photos that I've shot, and I realized something. Whenever I've shot those photos, deep down, I've been looking at myself in the mirror the whole time, which is kind of funny because, you know, like cameras have lenses and mirrors and we shoot outwards, but really I'm saying like we're shooting ourselves. Everything that I've shot, I've included in that decision to shoot that frame my biases, my lived experiences, how I feel about myself, my point of view about how I see the world. Sometimes it's just my present feelings, how I'm feeling in the moment, and sometimes it's something grander, like my desires for my future. How I present something in an image is maybe how I want to see things. Through this process of going out and shooting photos and coming back and reflecting on what I've done out there and what I captured, I challenge myself too. Sometimes I feel like I'm punching myself in this mirror. Around Taipei main station, there's a lot of homeless people. I've taken photos of them. I look back and I'm like, why did I shoot it like that? Why am I presenting them like this? These are still people and I need to hold them in a higher regard. I've stopped shooting photos like that, and it's a very like, you know, street photography thing. So now for me personally, if I can't shoot someone who's down and out, for example, if I can't paint them in a good light and show like the humanity in them, I'm not gonna shoot that. So I've had to really challenge myself on an example like that. Photography is a mirror sometimes, man, and I look at it and sometimes I don't like what I see and I gotta change that. Everything I've been talking about is just looking at things differently, and the same thing goes with places that we're at and the places that we've been or the places that we've thought we've always known. What I mean by that, the fifth lesson is new spaces in old places. When I went back to Hacienda Heights, shout out 626, back to my hometown, I was at this park. I always go to this park. I've been to this park so many times, but I've never been around this park. I've never bothered to actually walk the park. I just go play basketball, you know, get my game on, chuck a few shots, whatever. And then I had this camera and I was like, let me walk like 10 steps outside this park. And to my amazement, there was this pink house, beautiful pink house, the only colorful house on this whole block. And I thought to myself, oh my God, how did I not notice that? I have never seen that before. How long has that been? Has that always been there? And I realized just how wrong I was about my own hometown. I used to think my hometown was boring, straight up. But after seeing that house and then going out and exploring some more, I was like, my hometown is a living thing. It changes, it evolves, just as I do. When I take a step back from all of this, it's made me think about the places that I have been, or the places that I think I know, and make me want to go back to those places to find out things that I don't know about, like that pink house. And the final lesson that I've learned is how to give a good ass compliment. This one's the most practical lesson that I think I've learned, how to actually go up and initiate a conversation, is to give a good ass compliment. And a good ass compliment is one that is genuine and specific. If you enjoyed this video, I definitely recommend checking out my other video here about making my first photo book.